Right now on Morning News Now, a strong show of support from the U.S. for Ukraine. President Biden and Ukraine's president signing a long-term security deal at the G7 summit. This as the world's wealthiest democratic nations agree to a multi-billion-dollar loan for Ukraine. And breaking this morning, Russia's president saying the country is ready for peace talks. We will have the latest. Meanwhile, in Washington, former President Donald Trump visits Capitol Hill for the first time since the insurrection. What we're learning about his closed-door meeting with Republican lawmakers. Also this morning, a renewed debate over reproductive rights in America after the Supreme Court's unanimous decision to uphold access to a popular abortion pill.
This is not a cause for celebration, because the reality is certain things are still not going to change.
More on the ruling, the reaction, and what happens next. Plus, flooding and fire ravaging parts of the U.S. In Florida, entire neighborhoods submerged after days of downpours. While in Arizona, high heat and howling winds fueling a wildfire that's destroyed homes. We are tracking the extreme weather conditions as we head into the weekend. And not your average dad. We're celebrating Father's Day early this morning with a reminder that every dad's journey to fatherhood is unique. We'll introduce you to one man who's sharing his story with his hundreds of thousands of online followers, and celebrate some Morning News Now dads as well. Good morning, I'm Savannah Sellers.
Good morning, I'm Christine Romans. Nice to be in the chair here this Friday morning.
Yes, it's Friday. That's a little bit of good news. We're going to get started today with the G7 summit in Italy as President Biden continues meeting with leaders from the world's biggest industrialized nations.
The president is also set to sit down later today with Pope Francis before returning to Washington. At the summit yesterday, Mr. Biden and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy signed a 10-year security agreement to help the country defend itself against Russia. A deal was also reached on a multi-billion-dollar loan to help Ukraine in its ongoing conflict. The money will go toward military aid and humanitarian support. Earlier this morning, Russian President Vladimir Putin announced Russia is ready for peace talks with Ukraine only if certain conditions are met. President Biden addressed the agreement with reporters and says the U.S. stands with Ukraine.
The agreement that President Zelenskyy and I just signed also lays out our shared vision for a just peace, a peace rooted in the UN Charter and the principles of sovereignty and territorial integrity. We've taken three major steps at the G7 that collectively show Putin he cannot wait us out, he cannot divide us, and we'll be with Ukraine until they prevail in this war.
NBC News White House correspondent Monica Alba joins us from Italy with the latest on the summit. Monica, good morning. Nice to see you.
Good morning, Christine and Savannah. You too.
Ukraine has struggled to turn the tide against Russia's ongoing assault. Yeah. Explain to us how this agreement came together and where the money for this $50 billion loan is coming from.
It was a huge priority for President Biden heading into this summit to get all of the G7 leaders to agree to this $50 billion loan for Ukraine that essentially is being drawn from frozen Russian assets. And there were some questions about the details and the mechanism of exactly how this would work. And really, that money is going to go to Ukraine so that they can continue their defense and they can build up more military aid. But there's also this priority for trying to rebuild some of Ukraine's very devastated areas. So there's some thinking that that could help as well. Here's a little bit more of what President Biden had to say about this very big move and the 10-year security agreement.
Our goal is to strengthen Ukraine's credible defense and deterrence capabilities for the long term. A lasting peace for Ukraine must be underwritten by Ukraine's own ability to defend itself now and to deter future aggression anytime in the future. The United States is going to help ensure that Ukraine can do both.
So this is an executive agreement when we're talking about this bilateral agreement between the U.S. and Ukraine. Again, it should last for a decade, but any future president could technically walk away from it and scrap it entirely. So this is also about sending a larger message on the world stage from the Biden administration that he hopes to win re-election in November and continue this, but knowing that the uncertainty of all of that is playing into what could happen in the future here as well.
Monica, hanging over this international trip and these meetings with other world leaders is, of course, the president's son and what happened this week, Hunter Biden's conviction on federal gun charges. He actually did address that yesterday. Tell us about what the president said.
Yeah, these were his first on-camera remarks. He had released a statement after Hunter Biden was found guilty on those felony gun charges, saying that he was proud of his son and that he loves him and that he would respect the judicial process. But for the first time yesterday here in southern Italy, he expanded on that a little bit. Take a listen to how he put it.
I'm extremely proud of my son, Hunter. He has overcome an addiction. He's one of the brightest, most decent men I know. And I am satisfied that I'm not going to do anything. I said I abide by the jury decision, and I will do that, and I will not pardon him.
And so he was clear there on the pardon, and then our colleague Gabe Gutierrez followed up and asked the president, would you consider commuting Hunter's sentence? And the president replied simply, no.
And Monica, as we have mentioned, the president now set to meet with Pope Francis before he heads back to the U.S. What's on their agenda today?
And the two men have actually known each other for more than a decade. It was then Vice President Biden who traveled to Pope Francis's inauguration back in 2013. And when he came to the U.S. in 2015, they spent some time together as well. And then in 2021, as President Biden traveled to Rome, to the Vatican, to meet with the Pope and have a private audience for about 75 minutes or so. Today, they're going to be together privately one-on-one, but then the Pope is also going to be holding a larger session on artificial intelligence. Remember that image that went viral, that fake image of the Pope in a puffy white jacket that was circulating? That prompted him to really want to highlight some of the dangers of the technology, but he's also going to speak to some of the advantages it can provide as well. And he will make history, Savannah and Christine, as the first pontiff ever to attend a G7 summit.
All right, Monica, thank you so much. Beautiful, beautiful live shot there.
I know, right? And safe travels home, Monica. Well, former President Trump returned to Washington yesterday to meet privately with congressional Republicans, including some who criticized him after the January 6th attack. NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Ali Vitale has the details.
It was a great meeting.
Former President Trump back on Capitol Hill for the first time since the January 6th attack by his supporters.
We agree just about on everything, and if there isn't, we work it out.
A congressional pep rally of sorts for the likely GOP nominee, speaking to lawmakers behind closed doors.
There's tremendous unity in the Republican Party. We want to see borders. We want to see strong military. We want to see just success for our country. And we don't have success right now.
Among the signs of Mr. Trump's success rallying his party, the attendance of top Senate Republican Mitch McConnell, who hasn't spoken to the former president in 4 years. He's sharply criticized Mr. Trump, calling him practically and morally responsible for what happened on January 6th, but has since endorsed him.
How is it seeing the former president?
We had a good meeting.
Also there, potential Trump VP pick, Senator Marco Rubio.
What did it say that even McConnell was in the room with him?
Yeah, we're Republicans. Yeah, we want to win elections.
All the awkwardness is gone.
I mean, we're in politics. You know, ultimately, we're not getting involved with time we don't agree with on something.
Not every Republican made that meeting with former President Trump. 3 GOP senators skipped it, citing scheduling conflicts. Back to you.
Ali Vitale, thank you so much.
All right, staying on Capitol Hill, Republican senators are blocking a Democratic bill to protect in vitro fertilization nationwide. The bill would establish a federal right to access IVF-assisted services and to have providers to offer the procedure. It would also require insurance to cover it, but conservative critics say it is too broad.
This comes on the heels of a rare unanimous decision from the Supreme Court yesterday. It effectively upheld access to a popular abortion pill. NBC News senior legal correspondent Laura Jarrett breaks it all down.
The U.S. Supreme Court diving back into the battle over reproductive rights, unanimously rejecting an effort to roll back access to the most commonly used abortion pill in the country, a medication many doctors say they use every day.
I was relieved because mifepristone is such a commonly used and critical medication.
The fight over mifepristone rose to a fever pitch more than a year ago when a group of anti-abortion advocates and doctors filed suit, saying the FDA didn't do enough to evaluate the drug's safety risks. The Biden administration pointing out it was approved by the FDA as safe and effective more than 20 years ago. The justices taking no position on all that, instead finding the plaintiffs who don't prescribe or use mifepristone don't have the legal right or standing to sue. Justice Kavanaugh writing the plaintiffs want to make mifepristone more difficult for other doctors to prescribe and for pregnant women to obtain. But the desire to make the drug less available for others does not establish standing. Lawyers for those plaintiffs disappointed but not deterred.
We were hoping for a different ruling from the Supreme Court, and that means that we still have work to do.
Had the High Court not stepped in, access to the pill would have been limited significantly, a possibility brought into even sharper focus now that the justices have eliminated the constitutional right to an abortion, and southern states have mostly banned the procedure, prompting more women to turn to medication abortion they can receive in the mail.
If the court had restricted mifepristone back to the early days of approval, where you needed to go in person, that would have been a disaster.
This as Democrats try to leverage the current landscape ahead of the November election, forcing a vote to protect in vitro fertilization. Senator Tammy Duckworth had 2 children with the help of IVF.
My miscarriage more painful than any wound I ever earned on the battlefield. Every woman deserves to be able to be called mama without being called a criminal.
Just 2 Republicans voting in favor of the bill that would prohibit states from imposing restrictions on IVF after Alabama's highest court caused a nationwide uproar, concluding frozen embryos have the same rights as children, causing IVF clinics to temporarily shut down out of fear of lawsuits. Many in the GOP saying they support IVF, but saying a bill to protect it is overkill.
There is no state in the United States of America that prohibits a woman from growing her family through IVF.
And the court is still not done, with one more opinion having to do with a conflict potentially between federal law that requires a life-saving abortion and a law in Idaho which has a near total ban on the procedure. Back to you.
All right, Laura, thank you for that.
Well, as the clash over abortion rights intensifies across the U.S., women in some states with near total bans are growing more concerned for their reproductive freedom and their safety. NBC News senior national correspondent Stephanie Gosk spoke with one woman in Missouri who says she was scared to talk to her doctors after experiencing pain from an abortion pill.
What did you feel comfortable telling the doctors in the emergency room?
My name.
That's it?
That's it. But I just kept saying over and over, don't die, and don't say you took those pills.
Love Holt had taken the abortion pill after buying it online, even though there is a total abortion ban in her home state of Missouri. Already a single mom of 5, she worried going through another pregnancy would be too hard on her family.
I would have been putting myself and my children at risk for not being able to supply them with income and food and housing because my work schedule would be curbed.
Moments after taking the abortion pill at home, she says she knew something was wrong.
Very scary. I was bleeding out quite a bit. And I kind of knew then, like, you're going to have to probably go to the hospital.
Holt eventually went to the emergency room, reluctantly.
What was the fear like for you?
Honestly, that I was going to be carted away from my hospital bed to a jail cell. Had they found out.
Missouri's ban is one of the strictest in the country. No exceptions for rape or incest. Abortion is only legal to save the life of the mother.
Can a woman be arrested for getting an abortion?
Not in the state of Missouri.
Republican state legislator Nick Schroer co-authored the law.
Our statutes show that women in the state of Missouri will not be prosecuted. The only ones that could be held liable are the companies and the physicians that are partaking in this and basically preying upon women in these very sensitive times, I guess you could say.
But Holt, who is a reverend with a doctorate in theology, says she doesn't trust the system. Her work as an activist in the Black community in St. Louis showed her she is not alone.
Is your story something that you hear over and over again?
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I wish my story was an isolated incident. It saddens me to know that there's stories that are even more egregious than my story.
Fear of criminalization is not isolated to Missouri, according to the organization If, When, How, which provides legal assistance for abortion issues.
People are afraid. People are afraid to even seek information.
In exclusive data shared with NBC News, calls to the If, When, How helpline spiked 875% after the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade.
The impact of criminalization goes far beyond the numbers of people who are arrested. It is this much bigger question of people who are unable to get the care that they need because they're worried, they're confused about what the law is.
Do you think Black lives are at risk as a result of this overturning of Roe v. Wade?
100%. And legislators know it. We're just caught in the crosshairs. The target isn't necessarily on our back, but we are the ones who don't have the resources to take a flight to a safe haven state and get an abortion.
But Holt says sharing her story, which she has done on Capitol Hill, is not enough. Together with Abortion Action Missouri, she helped gather nearly 400,000 signatures so that a proposed state constitutional amendment guaranteeing abortion rights would be on the ballot this November, even here in very conservative Missouri.
I think this is going to bring people to the ballot box. I think it's going to mobilize and unite communities. And most of all, it's going to erect a strong force in women like we've never seen before.
Abortion rights won on the ballot in conservative states like Kansas, Ohio, and Montana. Now in November, at least 4 more states will be voting on abortion.
What will you do if a majority of people in this state say, you know what, we want access to abortion?
Well, you know, that's a commitment that I've had since day one, that I will stand to protect life from womb to tomb.
Schroer says the fight over abortion may not be resolved in Missouri for years to come.
We know what's at stake. So this is going to be like the championship games for us. We're excited to have this win that I know is coming in November. And it's going to be like the greatest pivot of all of our lives.
Our thanks to Stephanie Gusk for sharing that story.
All right, dangerous weather for millions of Americans from coast to coast this morning. In Arizona, firefighting crews working round the clock to contain fast-moving wildfire there that has forced evacuations and destroyed some homes.
Well, in Florida, at least 2 people are dead after days of record rain have triggered life-threatening floods.
NBC News correspondent Marissa Parra is live in Miami for us. Good morning. You know, after days, Marissa, days and days of rain, really, officials there are saying it could, get worse before it gets better. What's it like now? What has officials most concerned?
Hey guys, so I will point to the street behind me as an example of what has officials most concerned, because this has been like this for days now. And so this is what people are waking up to yet again, another day of a street in their neighborhood, because this is where people live. Feet of water, standing water at that, and cars that are flooded out, stalled in the middle there and having to trudge through that water, which of course is never recommended, not always safe. You don't know what's in the water, what is just below your feet as you're stepping around. But remember, this is Florida. It is low-lying, low elevation. We also have that foundation of porous limestone underneath. Poor drainage systems have already made this an area that is susceptible to flooding. So guys, the thing that is the most concerning to officials here is that the forecast says there is more rain on the way. You can see with the standing water behind me, this ground is at near zero tolerance for any more rain. You can only imagine. This was dry, of course, before the rain started. It looks like this now. So imagine it takes very little for this to get a whole lot worse, guys. So of course, everybody holding their breath to see what the next few days hold.
Marissa, how are people that live there doing? What are you hearing from residents?
Well, you can imagine that people who live in neighborhoods like this one are very frustrated, and they're worried about not just what the next few days bring, but what this means for the future, especially with questions on rising sea levels and more severe storms on the way with climate change. So, of course, we've spoken to people as they were trudging through the water. They had trash bags around their legs, people trying to get their stuff out, salvage what they could from inside of their homes. Here's what we heard from one homeowner nearby.
This has been the worst in like 20 years. We've been here for 20 years.
Through hurricanes.
And we've never seen this. And through a hurricane. And, I mean, I've seen like trees fall down on our property and stuff like that. And this wasn't even a hurricane, so this is like, it's a whole new level.
And that illustrates the point that is being made so often here, is this is an area that is used to storms. They are used to getting a lot of rain, right? You imagine tropical depressions, tropical storms. That is no surprise to people here. But what really caught them off guard was to see the impacts of just some rainfall, of course, at historic levels. But again, it really caught a lot of people off guard here. And of course, makes them nervous for what hurricane season, which just began, will bring.
Oh, yeah. And what about that wildfire in Arizona, Marissa? Are crews having any luck bringing that thing under control?
Right. So we talked about the homes that has claimed so far. And this is, we're just talking about wildfire season heating up here. We do understand from our latest reporting at last check that is 20% contained. And even some people were able to return to their homes, guys.
All right, Marissa, thank you so much for that and stay safe.
Well, let's get more coverage on the severe rain in Florida with your Morning News Now weather forecast.
Meteorologist Angie Lassman joins us now. Good morning, Angie.
Good morning, ladies. Unfortunately, you just heard Marissa talking about the fact that we've got more rain on the way, and we did have a bit of a break into the overnight period, so that was nice for folks to start to see a little bit of the waters receding, but we're already starting to see some of these rain showers popping up once again. So no surprise, the flood watches, they really haven't changed over the past couple of days. I don't expect them to change here even as we get into tomorrow. We'll keep these in the picture as we still are dealing with this stationary front kind of sitting across the midsection of the state of Florida and leaving us with some unsettled weather and more of that heavy rain on the way. So where are we looking at the greatest risk? No surprise, the extreme southern portions of the peninsula is where we're going to see the best chance to see some of that flooding. But even into tomorrow, notice how the rain becomes a little more scattered, more few and far between than what we've been seeing over the past couple of days. But it doesn't really help when it comes to the flooding situation with all of those saturated soils. You heard Marissa talking about the porous limestone, the poor drainage systems in the state. And this is going to be something that we'll likely deal with into the weekend for these plans. Now, the rain will start to taper off, but either way, here's the deal today. We've got multiple rounds of that heavy rain, and this is the area that I really want you to watch for. Miami specifically is included in that, but even as far north as West Palm Beach and out towards Fort Myers, any additional rainfall has you under a slight risk for some flash flooding through the day today. Again, we'll see that become less and less as the next couple of days go on. Here's what we're expecting. The numbers not quite as impressive when it comes to additional rainfall as what we've already received, but when you get 10 to 20 inches of rain and then another 3 to 5 on top of it, of course, that likely will be problematic for folks through the weekend. So a heads up there. Meanwhile, we've got some strong storms possible across parts of the Rockies and the Northeast. Philadelphia, New York, Boston, Portland, all included in this. Chance for some strong thunderstorms to work through as we get into the later parts of today. We've got the main risk coming in as wind gusts. So 60, 65 mile per hour wind gusts, a possibility, maybe an isolated tornado, although it doesn't look all that likely. And some damaging hail is possible too. Here's the front. As it gets through today, guys, we'll start to see that wrapping up as we get into tomorrow and looking at better conditions on the way for folks Saturday.
I think I saw my neighborhood on that map. We're going to have some bad weather here, is that what you're saying? Okay.
You did see that.
Noted. Angie Lassman, thank you so much.
Sometimes she'll give you a nice day in your neighborhood.
Tomorrow.
Yeah. Thanks,
Good,
Angie.
thanks.
All right, there's much more to come here on Morning News Now. We're actually going to dig in more on a similar topic. Is some real estate getting risky? Many people dream of owning a home near the beach. Experts say you might want to think twice because we'll explain why homes built along America's coasts are losing value fast.
But up first, after the break, meet AI Steve, the first of its kind, a computer-generated candidate running for office in the UK. Let's stay with us.
We are back with new developments involving detained American journalist Evan Gershkovich. Russian prosecutors have announced he will stand trial after spending more than a year in pretrial detention. The 32-year-old is accused of spying on behalf of the CIA to collect information about a Russian weapons manufacturer. A trial date has not yet been released.
So far, Russian officials have not presented any evidence to support the arrest or the allegations. President Biden and the Wall Street Journal have repeatedly called on President Putin to release Gershkovich, saying the charges are baseless. He faces up to 20 years in prison if convicted.
Well, here's a pretty wild one. Election season is in full swing in the UK. This year, there is a new kind of candidate. Meet AI Steve. This is an avatar running for office, powered, of course, by artificial intelligence. Its creator says Steve will make decisions based on chats it has with voters and what the people want. NBC News international correspondent Danielle Hamamdjian has the story.
How many times have you heard this one? A politician wanting to reinvent politics.
Hi, I'm AI Steve, standing to be MP for Brighton and Hove.
But what happens when the candidate is the actual invention? Meet Steve, that is, AI Steve, an avatar on the ballot, a UK first.
You're actively dangerous.
Dangerous? You think the public can't be trusted?
It may feel like something out of that dystopian Black Mirror episode where a comedian uses a computer-generated avatar to cause electoral chaos. But now it's happening in real life, sort of, with AI Steve running as an independent.
AI Steve, was Brexit a good idea?
Brexit is a complex issue with varied opinions.
He can dodge a question like a real politician, but AI Steve will do exactly what his constituents tell it to do in Parliament, according to its creator, Steve Endicott.
Policies for the people, by the people.
The human version of Steve says he's an eco-friendly capitalist with a conscience who is fed up with traditional politics. But he promises he'll follow AI Steve's guidance if elected.
Politics is all about human interaction, Steve.
We're using AI to involve more humans in political decisions. That's not AI taking over Parliament or taking over government. It's the opposite. It's AI empowering me as a politician to be directly connected on a daily basis with my constituents.
AI Steve, he says, is his co-pilot, who can have up to 10,000 conversations at once. Constituents will vote on every policy issue, and human volunteers will weed out extremism.
Well, it's the first MP that ever does what it's told. I don't know if you have any politicians in America do what they're told, but we don't here.
The current local MP from the Green Party is stepping down, leaving room for a slew of candidates from many parties. Across the country, Conservatives are trailing ahead of the July 4th elections, with the UK's Labour Party expected to win big after 14 years in opposition. Experts are increasingly worried about AI undermining elections.
Make it look like anyone is saying anything at any point in time.
From deepfake videos to robo-voice calls.
A magician using artificial intelligence to make robocalls pretending to be the president.
Former Pakistani leader Imran Khan used AI to voice campaign speeches from prison. And in the U.S., a candidate running for mayor of Wyoming's capital says he'll govern by AI bot, calling himself merely a puppet. Real Steve believes his AI alter ego can bolster democracy if done properly.
He's always available, and he's handled 2,500 calls in the last 3 days. I couldn't do that. So we need to actually fix our broken politics and do something about it. So at least I'm trying.
AI Steve was designed by Neural Voice. It's an AI voice company, and we need to point out the real Steve is a minority shareholder in the company. Since the website went live on Monday, he says the top 3 issues have been Israel's war with Hamas, garbage collection, and cycling lanes.
All right, Danielle, thank you so much.
That's quite a story. All right, coming up, the head of the FAA grilled on Capitol Hill.
Concerned that, your oversight is not strong enough.
When we come back, his testimony before lawmakers as Boeing faces intense scrutiny over the safety of its planes.
Plus, 5-star access without the 5-star bill. We'll share the hotel hack that could save you hundreds, even thousands of dollars on a luxury experience this summer. You're watching Morning News Now.
All right, welcome back. With confirmation from Boeing that it's working on a new quality control problem involving one of its popular planes. It comes as the FAA chief faced some scathing questions on Capitol Hill yesterday on its oversight of Boeing. NBC News senior correspondent Tom Costello has the details.
Boeing's latest problem is with the 787 Dreamliner. The company confirms hundreds of fasteners on the plane's fuselage appear to have been over-tightened and installed incorrectly. Boeing says the affected planes have not yet been delivered to airlines, and it's taking the time necessary to ensure all airplanes meet its delivery standards prior to delivery.
Can Americans feel safe about their circumstances they fly across the country and around the globe?
Air travel continues to be the safest way of travel by a very, very large margin.
On Capitol Hill, FAA Chief Mike Whitaker said the FAA's tough new oversight of Boeing is permanent. Dozens of inspectors now on Boeing production lines after the MAX 9 door plug blowout in January revealed serious quality and safety lapses, even though Boeing was supposed to be under FAA audit.
I'm very concerned that, your oversight is not strong enough.
But Whitaker says FAA inspections are now far far more robust, and Boeing aircraft production remains capped.
Are you comfortable with the steps Boeing is taking right now to change its safety culture?
They have submitted a comprehensive plan. It is comprehensive. It's ambitious.
Meanwhile, Boeing whistleblowers continue to report concerns.
Boeing's new overhaul plan includes new quality control and safety management systems as the company remains under FAA and FBI investigation. The CEO will be on the Capitol Hill hot seat next week. Back to you.
And Tom has been on top of the story for us. Tom, thanks so much.
Well, if you are looking to beat the summer heat without breaking the bank, we might have an idea for you.
Yeah, that's because a growing number of people are turning to resort day passes so they can take advantage of luxury amenities without paying a premium for the hotel room.
Yeah, this is a pretty cool one. For more on this growing trend, we are joined by travel expert Davey Sutton. Davey, good morning. Good to see you. Tell us about day passes. How does this work? Do most resorts have them?
So there are many resorts that do offer affordable day passes, access to their amenities. And so the idea is that you can actually stay in the hotel next door that is more affordable and then purchase the day pass to spend time at the luxury hotel. And instead of calling around, you can use websites like Resort Pass, Day Pass, Daycation. They are marketplaces so that you, so to answer the question, which hotels offer that, you don't have to kind of knock on each door to find directly if they offer that.
Oh, that's smart. I've actually done this before, and it was amazing. We had a very big group, and it would be way too expensive to stay at that hotel, and we spent the whole day at a beautiful pool, and it was just perfect. So it's clear that the price point, you know, makes it beneficial for me, the customer, but it must be good for the hotels too, right?
I mean, the hotels, sometimes it depends if it's their high season or not, but sometimes their amenities aren't being used. So yes, they're going to get that extra income to people accessing their pool. One of the best travel hacks is to book a service at, let's say, a luxury resort's spa that can function as a backdoor. I also call that like the cheat code, if you will, into their pool. Sometimes it might just be limited to the pool at the spa, or sometimes you get access to amenities for the entire property, and you can book that service without being a guest. So, for example, it doesn't even have to be expensive. You can book a 30-minute facial. Let's say it costs you $100 versus paying an entire night stay. I also say the same thing for like dining experiences. For example, Monaco is one of the richest countries in the world, and I always say you can feel the wealth in the air. So you may not be able to pull off staying overnight in a hotel in Monte Carlo, but it's pretty easily to go to one of the fine dining restaurants at those luxury hotels.
So you mentioned that app, which is really cool. It helps you plan, but can you just show up at a front desk and ask, hey, can I get a pass for the pool?
Well, you can call around. I wouldn't recommend just like going there because they can definitely reject you. But you can call to ask if they offer day passes. And you guys, it's not as sometimes on those apps though they offer discounts and to as low as $25 to access the properties. It really is about supply and demand. So if they're not busy, they do want to see guests because they've already hired the staff to take care of the pool guests, to take those orders for those meals and those drinks. So they do want to see you come on the property, and so you might get a good deal by using one of those marketplaces. You can call around, but I think it's more efficient to save your time to use one of the marketplaces.
It's so great. It's like two trends at the same time. People want to save money and people want to experience life, you know? So it's like...
Well, Anne, you're a good reviewer to know you've done it. I
saving
like
and spending at the same time.
Thank you, Davey.
Yes. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you got it. All right. Now, you may remember a few weeks back, we had an incredible woman on the show who's giving lab-tested animals a new lease on life. Well, I went to visit her at a very special place to her organization, Beagle Freedom Project, and to the hundreds of animals living there, now in peace. Take a look.
Over the years, Shannon Keith has written a lot of letters.
Mostly, they don't respond.
Those letters addressed to animal testing facilities, like this one in Nowata, Oklahoma, asking to rescue dogs and cats that would have otherwise been euthanized.
What did you think when you got the phone call from this facility?
I nearly passed out.
This site was in particularly bad shape.
What did you think when you first came here?
Woo! I was overwhelmed. There were hundreds and hundreds of dogs living outside in these pens 24/7. When he was doing the testing, the dogs were inside in these dingy, dark, awful, stinky kennels.
But something was different about these 30 acres, and Shannon, who founded Beagle Freedom Project, had an idea for the owner.
We'll buy the property because we want it, and you give us custody of all your animals. And part of that deal was he relinquishes his USDA license so he can never test on animals again.
These rolling hills are now known as Freedom Fields, a sanctuary while the animals await forever homes.
We have so much to learn from these animals about love and about forgiveness because they love people so much.
What does it mean that this very same land that was where these animals were being tested on is now their sanctuary?
Yeah, it's hard. It's so bittersweet. You know, I just hope they know that they're safe now, and I think they know that, and how much we love them.
All the animals. What a great day. I mean, it's such a fun shoot. And to the pigs, the goats, they have everything. It's so much fun. Coming up, if you are dreaming of owning a beach house, you might want to reconsider. Up next, why experts say homes built along the coast are not holding up their value.
Plus, Father's Day is this Sunday, and we're celebrating dad in all forms this morning. When we return, we'll be joined by one dad whose unique story has captured the hearts of his hundreds of thousands of online followers. You're watching Morning News Now. We are back now with a warning for people who live along the coasts. Hurricane season is upon us, and the forecast is for above average activity. That could mean up to 13 hurricanes this season.
The weather and then rising sea levels. That means coastal real estate is being hit by worse flooding and erosion than expected, and that is impacting its value. CNBC real estate correspondent Diana Olick has been taking a look at this issue. She joins us now. Diana, good morning.
Good morning, Savannah and Christine. So who doesn't love an ocean view, right? That's why people want homes on the water and why those homes are so very pricey. But they're also the homes at the highest risk from climate change.
From Dana Point, California, to Long Island, New York, to Nantucket, Massachusetts, some of the nation's priciest coastal real estate is in an increasingly precarious position due to climate change.
They're buying them knowing they're going to lose them.
This Nantucket home was listed last summer for just over $2 million. But in the fall, a barely notable nor'easter wiped away an astounding 70 feet of the beach it sits on, thanks to sea level rise and unusually intense rainfall. The house sold this year for just $600,000. The buyer told the Boston Globe the price mitigates the risk, and it's not the only one.
There's been several. One sold in the mid-7s and one sold in the mid-8s, which I know that sounds like a lot of money, but those houses, if they weren't at erosion risk, would have sold for, I don't know, 10, 12 million.
Nantucket real estate agent Shelley Lockwood just launched a seminar for fellow agents to help them reprice homes at risk.
I saw houses selling and I thought, oh my God, that's not worth that. It's falling in the ocean.
On the eastern end of Long Island, in Montauk, back-to-back storms this winter had the community scrambling to bolster its beaches and protect its multi-million-dollar homes as the water came in faster than ever before.
Where we've seen flooding in the past and the water subsiding right away, it's not subsiding anymore. We have a friend that's has a $10 million home, and he's not even sure what to do with it because if he sells it, it's never going to be the $10 million that he bought it for.
Looking at zip codes just on the east and Gulf coasts of the U.S., these 33 have a median home value of at least $1 million. And in just these areas, a combined 77,000 properties are at significant flood risk, according to models by First Street, a climate risk data and analytics firm. That is roughly $100 billion in potential losses.
I think we just put our head in the sand. Values weren't going down until the last 10 years, and it's still been kind of a quiet reduction.
Attorney Chris Farley is working with Nantucket homeowners to help reduce their property taxes as both the beach and their values erode. Some homes have been reassessed while their neighbors haven't.
This house behind me, for example, is $2.2 million, but the house 2 doors down is $500,000 for their land value. And the house on the other side of that is $250,000.
All three homes sit on the same cliff that is quickly losing ground.
In the last 6 months, this has eroded, I would say 12, 15 feet of sand is gone.
And these protective tubes, so we're not supposed to be seeing this.
This should have been covered.
On one beach, it's erosion. On another, the rising ocean has pushed sand so far as to bury the homes.
This was not like this last fall. This has happened this quickly.
All this sand coming up here like a snow dune.
See that? That was their septic. These things are not usable anymore. Once utility wires and septic systems get exposed, the town has to condemn the property.
Homeowner John Conforti watched our interview from his front steps. He's owned his home for 42 years.
We all say one more year.
Without beach erosion, how much would John's home sell for?
Right now, if it wasn't at erosion risk, 2.5.
And now?
I don't know if you could sell it. Maybe 5, maybe 500, maybe. But you'd have to have some buyer willing to lose it.
As more and more homes lose value and see their property taxes reduced, the local economies could take a hit, meaning taxes for everyone could then go up. Nantucket residents are voting on which parts of the island need the most help and who will pay for it, while in Montauk, experts are reassessing coastal resilience plans made nearly a decade ago after Superstorm Sandy because they're already outdated due to climate change. Back to you guys.
Diana, can you even insure some of these homes? I'm sure you can't even get homeowners insurance.
Well, for a lot of them, that's becoming increasingly difficult, and we've seen that in Florida in the last couple of years and in California when it comes to fire insurance. So some homes do have insurance, but it's going to get harder and harder the more home values go down to get them insured.
Yeah.
Diana, amazing story.
Thank you, Diana.
Oh, all right. Well, we are celebrating dads of all kinds this morning in honor of Father's Day this Sunday, but not everyone's path to that special role looks the same.
Our next guest wanted to be a father, but wasn't sure that it would ever happen for him. And right after he and his husband decided to have kids through a surrogate, tragedy struck. He lost his beloved husband to a heart attack, and now he's using the power of social media and his unique story to make a difference and build community for other dads like him.
And we have Jose Rolón here on set with us to talk about his story. Good morning. Happy Father's Day. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
We just had this great conversation here on the show yesterday about mental health surrounding Father's Day and just, you know, like the emotions it can bring up no matter what stage of this you are in, if you have a difficult relationship, if you've lost someone. And for you, losing a husband, a partner, a fellow dad in this, and then having 3 ultimately babies at the time. I mean, what does a day like this mean for you? Like, how does it feel? What does this bring up?
Yeah, I think for, you know, on Father's Day, it could be a little bit, it's bittersweet every single year. So, you know, when you think about becoming a parent, you always imagine you have that visual of like when your kid's on stage for the first time and you're sharing that moment with their partner because you know your kid's looking out for you in the audience, you know, and it gets bittersweet. You're proud for that moment, but then the seat next to you is empty. Right. And so every year, whenever they hit a milestone or, you know, my son is about to graduate and go into middle school. And so going to that, and although I'm newly partnered, you saw him there on some photos, there are those moments of having, you know, just feeling bittersweet. So some years are better than others.
You are on social media as NYC Gay Dad, and you're building this community. Tell me what it's like to share your story online and what kinds of response you get from people who maybe they see themselves in you or your experience resonates for them.
Look, the thing that I often say is that we're really not that different from all the other families. We might be a little bit more colorful, but we're really just trying to parent the same way that everybody else is. We're tired in the morning. We're just trying to get them to school. And so I really want to be able to showcase to all families that not only do we have that, but there's a larger support system for our community, especially now with everything happening in the world. You know, our community has been targeted. You know, we feel like we say it every, you know, cycle that it's more vital now, but we really feel like that right now is the time to just stand up and be present and be authentic and really show up for not only our community, but for all.
I'm just so impressed that for so much of this you were a single parent and you're so close in age and you even have twins. I mean, what is that process like? And how are your beautiful kids?
Well, they're great. You know, they're entering their preteens, so we're starting to get a little bit of that eye roll, which I'm not, you know, I'm not looking forward to. But
Christine can shed some light.
There's
a lot of eye roll.
Yeah, you've got 3 and in their teens, right? I can't imagine. I think, in terms of like surrogacy and having those conversations with them, I think some of that has been, for us, it's always been important to be really honest with them from the beginning. We've seen through pop culture and movies and shows where you find that adults finds out that they're like, they were adopted. And there's sort of like that moment of feeling deceit, being deceived. And I knew that I needed to be really honest with my kids from the very beginning.
Well, happy Father's Day. We're so glad you came here to share your story.
Yeah, thank you.
Nice to see you.
Jose Rolón, thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
All right, we wanted to take a moment to celebrate the dads and father figures in our lives and in the lives of our wonderful Morning News Now team, as well as our colleagues who are dads themselves.
Yeah, we've got a lot of them here. That's right. You can see if you can spot our dads in this special montage. And happy Father's Day to all the dads watching at home. It is Friday, so it's time for some joy. And this week, Amy Poehler's character Joy returns to theaters in Inside Out 2.
We're going to talk about that eagerly awaited movie, as well as the new Bridgerton episodes, which just dropped yesterday, and everything else coming to theaters and streaming that you just can't miss.
Here to help us talk through it all, tell us what we got to watch this weekend, we have Baker Machado. He's TV personality and host of The Baker Show. Baker, great to see you.
Nice to see you.
Happy Friday. We love when you join us. Help us get the weekend started. Okay, let's start with Inside Out 2.
Guys, the first one, I'm still crying from. It's still so good. And if you loved the first one, you're going to love this one as well. Newly minted teenager Riley, guys, making her way now for new emotions to enter into the picture. So joining the crew now, Anxiety, voiced by Maya Hawke, and Envy, voiced by Iowa Debris. They're joining the original emotions, like you mentioned, the Joy, which is Amy Poehler, Sadness, and others. Reviews on this amazing. Over 90% right now on Rotten Tomatoes. Wow. And don't forget, the first one won the Oscar for Best Animated Feature Film. And this is really needed for the box office. This could actually be the best performing film of the entire year so far. It's tracking about a $90 million opening, which would best Dune Part 2, which was about $82.5 million. And Disney needs a hit, too, because the best animated film that Disney's had the last couple of years was Lightyear in 2022. And that only brought in $50 million, and a lot of people think that one was a bust.
I don't even remember that one.
The box office, guys, has not had a single film top $100 million at the box office this entire year. So this is desperately needed for this and Despicable Me that are coming out here in the next couple weeks.
Let's talk about something streaming on Max. The Targaryens are back, and this is the prequel to the Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon. Is this worth me, like hiding from my kids for 2 days?
Yes. So far, the initial reviews are it's a little slow. A lot of the critics are hoping it's going to build, but as you mentioned, Christine, people have waited 2 years for this show to finally be back on Max and HBO this weekend. So expect more dragons, more plot twists. As I mentioned, right now the reviews are a little bit mixed right now, but don't forget, Warner Brothers Discovery pays over $20 million an episode for this show. It's one of the highest, it's one of the most expensive shows to create right now.
Wow, I do think it was not as good as just all of Game of Thrones.
It's also so dark. Am I just getting old where these things are so dark and I have to turn on the subtitles and everything?
Okay, we have to talk about Bridgerton 2.
Yes, that cliffhanger was like insane over a couple days ago.
Yes.
Netflix finally dropping the last 4 episodes of this last season of Bridgerton, so that way you can finally get an update on what happens with Colin and Penelope. No spoilers, by the way, guys, but most of the people who have watched the last few episodes are very happy with how it ends, but savor it, because the showrunner from Bridgerton told The Hollywood Reporter it'll be another 2 years before Bridgerton comes back for seson 4.
I got a lot. I got to work up all those
I watched
characters.
the first half, and then the first episode, and I'm going to try to savor it.
Savor it. That's what I've been doing with Hacks. It's like you have to watch every episode. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to watch another one next week.
And it's so densely scripted, Hacks is. Oh, but let's talk about another one that's set across the pond. This one is called Blue Lights, a police show based in Northern Ireland, streaming on BritBox. I know that there was a red carpet premiere, season 2 red carpet premiere here in Manhattan. What stands out on this one for lovers of cop shows?
Okay, so a lot of people love cop shows. This one is a really highly successful one. Its second season just dropped, and as you mentioned, the premiere was here in New York City. This has an over 90% rating right now on Rotten Tomatoes. And this looks at a police force in Northern Ireland. As you mentioned, it's airing on BritBox, and it's on BBC One across the pond right now as well.
Okay, gonna have to search for those ones.
I want to get to the next one, which is Bratz. That's all I want to talk about.
You've got like 30 seconds left. Tell us, a new documentary.
I am so excited for this. If you're an 80s kid like me, the Brat Pack was everything for you. Andrew McCarthy, who's a former member of the Brat Pack, he'll deny that he's a part of them. Interviews Emilio Estevez, Demi Moore, Rob Lowe, Ali Sheedy, but he does not interview Molly Ringwald. She is not a part of this. She declined to be a part of it. He even talks to the writer of that New York Magazine piece that famously called them the Brat Pack also. One big piece of info that they did drop in this, John Cryer admits he did date Demi Moore back in the day. That we did not know.
This makes me want to watch St. Elmo's Fire again.
This is on Hulu, by the way, if you want to watch that.
Love it. Baker Machado, it's so fun when you come. Thank you for being with us. Also, the Tonys are this weekend, so Joe better be back on Monday, because we'll have a full wrap-up Monday morning.
And that does it for this hour of Morning News Now.
But the news continues right now. Good morning. Happy Friday. Thanks very much for joining us. I'm Savannah Sellers.
And I'm Christine Romans. Developing right now on Morning News Now, South Florida submerged after a days-long deluge that sent floodwaters into homes.
I got nowhere to go, so I'm like, I'm lost for words right now.
And in Arizona, firefighters working through triple-digit heat to contain a wind-fueled wildfire. And the wild weather set to continue through the weekend. Our team is tracking it all, and a split screen of power plays with thousands of miles in between. President Biden on the world stage in Italy for the G7 summit, and former President Trump visiting Capitol Hill for the first time since the insurrection. Plus, a new phase in the battle over abortion rights in America, and the Supreme Court rules to uphold access to a popular abortion pill. More on the decision that could impact millions of Americans. And get your popcorn ready. That's right, it's Friday, and that means there's a lot of new movies for you to watch, from a Disney sequel for the kids to the newest installment of a Netflix favorite for U.S. adults. We'll have your list of everything you can't miss.
Sure will.
We start this Friday with this extreme weather, though, plaguing so much of the U.S. In Arizona, triple-digit temperatures fueling this fast-moving wildfire just north of Phoenix that has destroyed homes, forcing some residents to evacuate.
Yeah, meanwhile, millions of people in Florida are bracing for even more rain after record downpours left some South Florida neighborhoods underwater. NBC News meteorologist Angie Lastman has your weekend forecast, but we are going to get started with NBC News correspondent Marissa Parra, who is live in Miami. Marissa, good morning.
Christine, Savannah, good morning. And it is yet another morning of neighbors waking up to exactly this behind me. You can see feet of standing water, cars still left stranded in the middle of the road here. And so we have already seen the storm system turn deadly. On the west coast of Florida, 2 people died after a vehicle lost control on a wet road. So as we expect more rain on the way, officials are warning everyone and reminding them just how dangerous this can turn very quickly.
South Florida is already soaked and bracing for even more rain in the days ahead.
You need a ride?
Entire neighborhoods underwater, leaving families stranded and in need of rescue as floodwaters from historic rainfall threatens millions.
Slow! Slow!
The dangerous deluge leaving homes devastated.
Over here, this line is how high the water was yesterday.
Exactly.
And rendering countless cars undrivable.
Looked like a beginning to a zombie movie, just cars littered everywhere.
Officials warning conditions could get worse before they get better.
We are anticipating some of the flooding will not have much time to recede before the rain starts again.
Even Floridians, who are no stranger to storms, caught by surprise.
This has been the worst in like 20 years. We've been here for 20 years.
Through
and we've
hurricanes.
never seen this, and through a hurricane.
Severe weather season spreading across the country. Overnight storms and a possible tornado destroying houses and toppling structures in Missouri and snapping entire tree branches and power lines. In Arizona, a fast-moving wildfire destroying 6 homes and forcing residents to flee.
And we walked out and looked and saw big plumes of smoke, and we decided to head for the hills.
Crews attacking the Rose Fire from the air as dangerous high winds and triple-digit temperatures fuel the flames. And those high temperatures that have been scorching the Southwest for days now heading to the Northeast. Officials in New York warning the feels-like temperature could exceed 100 degrees by next week. Back in South Florida, residents bracing for even more rain in the forecast in a region unable to take much more.
And in some places in South Florida, they say roughly 20 inches of rainfall. That's roughly what we see after a hurricane sometimes, guys. And so you can see the standing water behind me. Obviously, the ground is completely saturated. We're at a near zero tolerance in a lot of South Florida for any more rainfall. So you can imagine how anxious and nervous people are when they hear that more rain is on the way, guys.
All right, Marissa Parra, thank you very much. Stay safe.
So for more on the flooding in Florida, I want to check in with your morning news now. Weather meteorologist Angie Lastman joins us now. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, we've got more rain in the forecast. The flood watches are up, and these likely are going to stay with us at least through the end of the work week and potentially into tomorrow as we've got more rain on the way, as you just heard Marissa say. The good news is overnight we had a little break. We had some time to wind things down, maybe see a little of that water recede, but we're ramping things back up once again, and this is going to be kind of the story through the rest of the morning and into the afternoon hours. You can see most of that favoring the southern tier of the tip of the peninsula. That's where we're looking at the greatest chance for any of that flooding to occur once again. As we look ahead to tomorrow, not much change in the way of rainfall. We're still going to have some of that rain falling over those same locations, but it'll just be fewer and farther between, with more scattered kind of showers in the picture that will be less intense as well. We're still going to have to watch for the flooding, though, because, of course, we know how saturated our grounds were. You saw the images behind Marissa there, and that's going to be something that we'll likely deal with into the weekend, so we get some time under our belts for some of that water to recede. Here's the deal today, though, for your flash flood risk. Fort Myers, West Palm Beach, Marco Island, those are the Fort Lauderdale is included in there. Those are the spots there that we're going to be watching for a slight risk of flash flooding. The farther south you go, including Miami-Dade County, much of the Miami metro, that's where we're going to see that moderate risk, the most likely spots for us to see some flooding. When it comes to the amounts, nothing quite as impressive as what we've already seen, but again, any additional amounts are going to make it tough for folks out there. We'll still see anywhere from maybe 3 to 5 inches of rain in some of the more isolated, localized spots, but more widespread amounts, a little less than that. Now, switching gears, we got to talk about the heat, because this is going to be something that'll get your attention across a big chunk of the country as we get through the weekend and into early next week. We've got a strong area of high pressure that's going to slide into the Northeast by the time we get into the middle of the work week. Here's what it does for folks in the Great Lakes, the Northeast, the Mid-Atlantic. We're going to be into the 90s in Washington, D.C., and we stay there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We've got upper 80s and low 90s on deck in New York for that same time frame. And Cincinnati really turning up the heat, 99 degrees. That is an actual temperature. Of course, you add in a little humidity with that, and it's feeling quite uncomfortable. We'll see even places like Syracuse hit 96 degrees by the time Wednesday rolls around. The big picture look for this is that we will have some heat risk to deal with as we get through early next week. Notice the folks in purple, that's the extreme risk from the National Weather Service. That includes places like Kansas City, Indianapolis, Detroit. That means this is a long duration event where we could likely see things become deadly. We'll also be watching, though, for even the moderate risk areas where long exposure for outdoors at these temperatures can be really dangerous. Otherwise, the good news of this forecast for the weekend is it's going to be great across the east. We'll see great conditions. I know we're dealing with a little rain across the Northeast this morning and potentially even some strong thunderstorms later today, but that'll all clear out and we'll be left with a beach day, plenty of sunshine. That desert heat sticks with us. We'll track some of those thunderstorms across the middle of the country, and then delightful for Father's Day. We'll see places like Bowling Green, Kentucky. You're going to need the AC. It'll be quite warm. If you're golfing, potentially in Grandfather, North Carolina, 75 and mostly sunny.
I see what you did there.
Clever.
I love you and I love your mouse. Dad Lightful's a little bit of a stretch.
You don't like it?
It's cute.
It doesn't have the Savannah stuff.
Dad. Thanks, Angie. We appreciate it. All right, new this morning, Russian President Vladimir Putin says Russia is willing to hold peace talks with Ukraine. This is the first time Putin has publicly declared Russia's conditions for those talks. That includes Ukraine pulling troops out from certain regions and Ukraine dropping its bid to join NATO. This comes following yesterday's announcement at the G7 summit in Italy that President Biden and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy signed a long-term security agreement that includes a $50 billion loan to help Ukraine defend itself against Russia. NBC News senior White House correspondent Gabe Gutierrez is traveling with the president. He joins us now from Italy with the latest on the summit. Gabe, good morning.
Hey there, Savannah. Good morning. We're out to the White House about those new conditions as laid out by Vladimir Putin. No response yet, but this comes as the G7 summit is set to welcome a unique guest today, Pope Francis. He's set to have a private meeting with President Biden later today. President Biden, of course, is a devout Catholic.
This morning, President Biden beginning a day of high stakes and historic meetings at the G7 summit after announcing new support and agreements for Ukraine.
We will say it again, yes, again and again and again. We're going to stand with Ukraine.
Later today, the president meeting with Pope Francis, who's expected to join world leaders to discuss his concerns over artificial intelligence. The Pope just hosted a gathering of more than 100 comedians and actors at the Vatican, including Jimmy Fallon, Julie Louis-Dreyfus, and Conan O'Brien, among others. The pontiff telling the group, in the midst of so much gloomy news, you have the power to spread peace and smiles. Meanwhile, the G7 summit in Italy already trying to send a strong message to Russian President Vladimir Putin.
You cannot divide us, and we'll be with Ukraine until they prevail in this war.
President Biden announcing several measures to support Ukraine in its grueling war with Russia. A 10-year security agreement committing the U.S. to equip and train Ukraine's military. A $50 billion loan backed by interest from frozen Russian assets, and expanded sanctions against banks who do business with Russia.
We have signed the strongest agreement between Ukraine and the U.S. since our independence.
President Biden also addressing his son's felony conviction on camera for the first time.
I'm extremely proud of my son, Hunter. He has overcome an addiction. He's one of the brightest, most decent men I know.
A jury found Hunter Biden guilty on all counts for lying about his drug use on a background check to buy a gun. The president had previously said he would not pardon his son, but now he's also ruling out a commutation, which could have reduced a potential prison sentence without expunging his record.
After he wraps up the G7 summit here in Italy later today, President Biden is set to fly to L.A. for a star-studded fundraiser this weekend that will include George Clooney, Julia Roberts, and former President Obama. Savannah?
All right, Gabe, thank you so much.
Back in Washington, a congressional pep rally of sorts for Donald Trump. The former president returned to the Capitol yesterday, and as NBC News Now anchor Hallie Jackson reports, he was met with a hero's welcome by Republican lawmakers.
Hey there, good morning. Mr. Trump looking for a political flex ahead of the first debate in GOP convention in a matter of weeks. And now even some Republicans who distanced themselves from Mr. Trump after January 6th are making appearances, a sign, perhaps, that what's left of the party establishment's coming around to the reality of Mr. Trump's grip on the GOP.
Great meeting. There's tremendous unity in the Republican Party.
A show of political force as former President Trump rallies Republican leaders around him.
I'm with them 1,000%. They're with me 1,000%. We agree just about on everything.
But in the shadow of the Capitol, the specter of the January 6th attack looming large in Mr. Trump's first visit to the Hill since then. Outside one stop, protesters holding a sign reading "failed coup." Two Republicans who voted to impeach Mr. Trump for inciting the insurrection, Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski, no-shows at the Senate meeting, citing conflicts. But among those who did attend, longtime Trump critic Mitt Romney and top Senate Republican Mitch McConnell, who until Thursday hadn't spoken with Mr. Trump since his 2020 loss, and who previously described the former president as morally responsible for the Capitol attack. Now, a thaw. NBC's Ali Vitale with the GOP leader.
Senator, how is it seeing the former president?
We had a good meeting.
In a series of closed-door conversations, Mr. Trump aired his grievances on everything from former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to the Justice Department, according to those in the room. The former president also given an early birthday cake.
He wants a new driver.
And multiple sources say Mr. Trump on abortion access acknowledged the issue had cost Republicans, expressing support for policies that include exceptions, even as some conservative states implement stricter bans after the former president's appointment of Supreme Court justices who later helped overturn Roe versus Wade.
Senator, what does it say to you about the Republican Party with Mr. Trump's visit back to the Hill today, where the party is?
Well, I mean, look, he is the choice of our voters overwhelmingly. It shows that he is absolutely the leader of the party.
Allies applauding the visit.
There was energy, enthusiasm, excitement,
including several in the running to become Mr. Trump's VP, a pick set to be revealed within the next month.
Well, I have a pretty good idea, but I think it's probably I'll do it the way it's usually done. You announce it at
male, female.
And you may have heard about the Milwaukee dust-up. It's the city hosting the GOP convention next month. And one source in the room for these meetings, at least one of the meetings, says the former president brought up Milwaukee, calling it horrible and overrun by crime. Now, both he and his campaign have pushed back on characterizations of the remarks, saying he was talking specifically about the city's crime rate and alleged voter fraud. But the Biden campaign clearly very quickly saw an opportunity in a key battleground state, with President Biden tweeting, "I happen to love Milwaukee," and the campaign putting T-shirts with a similar sentiment up for sale. Back to you.
All right, Hallie Jackson, thanks so much.
Well, as violence escalates across the Israel-Lebanon border, hope for a ceasefire deal in Gaza is beginning to fade.
With the American-backed proposal failing to win the full support of either Israel or Hamas, President Biden said Thursday he doesn't expect an agreement to be signed anytime soon. For more, we are joined by NBC News international correspondent Matt Bradley in Jerusalem. And Matt, despite the frustrations, the Biden administration isn't giving up in the push for peace. What's the latest?
Yeah, it's been a couple of days, and there was a burst of optimism at the beginning of the week after the UN Security Council passed by almost unanimously a resolution that enshrined this deal that had been proposed by the Biden administration. They said at the time that this was an Israeli proposal. And remember when that happened on May 31st, Biden said this is Israel's idea. This is Israel's proposal. In the weeks after that, we saw Benjamin Netanyahu and his allies gradually walking that back, that commitment they had made. And we've also heard from Antony Blinken that it was Hamas that is holding up this deal. But that isn't necessarily true, because at this point it looks as though the Israelis haven't signed on completely either. It looks as though we're back to the drawing board, with both sides making maximalist demands specifically around one question, the one question that has bedeviled these negotiations ever since the last time there was some sort of peace in Gaza back in November. It is about when or how the Israelis will fully withdraw from the Gaza Strip and end their months-long assault. That is the question. Hamas says that must happen. The Israelis said they will not leave until they accomplish their primary goal of destroying Hamas. Guys.
Man, it's not just Israel and Hamas. We're seeing more violence at the Lebanon border. That includes Israeli troops using some sort of medieval-style weapon. What can you tell us about that? And what are you hearing from your sources inside Lebanon?
Well, the Israelis have said that these very wild videos where we're seeing like a trebuchet, really medieval-style weapons, and we're seeing bows and arrows, both of them throwing fire across the border into Lebanon. The Israelis said that this is mainly done in order to clear sight lines so that the Israeli troops can see through the brush on the other side of the border. It looks like a blunt instrument and obviously a throwback several hundreds of years. The Israelis say that they are not planning on introducing these weapons into the standard Israeli kit for military. These are not going to be used very often, the Israelis say, but it is an unusual sight. Very unusual, and one of those things that, just surprised viewers of this who have been watching this war for quite a while.
Matt, I'm wondering, do we know, is this like sanctioned by the military, or is it just that unit got creative? I mean, why were they even doing it?
Yeah, it's more the latter, from what we understand from the Israelis, that they just simply decided this smaller group, this wasn't sort of a regular military decision. That's kind of what we understand. But if you look at some of that equipment, particularly the trebuchet, it's not something that you and I could put together with our bare hands in our spare time. It looks like some people had some real insight into how to make that thing. It's a pretty elaborate piece of equipment, and it's doing something that is just sort of bizarre, something that maybe could be done otherwise. Spreading fire on the other side of the border in order to clear brush, again, to create sight lines so they can see what's going on. Pretty unusual way of doing it, guys.
Most certainly unusual looking as well. Matt Bradley, thank you very much.
All right, back here in the States, the debate over reproductive rights is heating up. The Supreme Court issued a rare unanimous decision yesterday that maintained current access to the abortion pill.
Yeah, that's right. Shortly after the court's ruling, Senate Republicans blocked a bill that would have established broad federal protections for in vitro fertilization. All of this as we wait for several other key decisions from the Supreme Court.
So NBC News legal analyst Danny Savalos is here to break it all down. And Danny, let's start with this abortion pill case. The court's decision skirted the actual issue, and this was about standing, that the people who brought this case didn't have the legal standing.
The doctors who brought this case had a moral objection to the pill, but the court concluded they didn't have the kind of concrete harm that is required under the Constitution for anyone to bring a case in any federal court. Standing asks the constitutional question, what business is this of yours? Because the mere fact that we may have a moral objection to something doesn't give us standing to sue in federal court. And these doctors were not even in the group of people affected by the regulations. Yes, they're doctors, but they're not people who prescribed this pill. The people who might have been affected were either patients or doctors who did prescribe this pill, but that wouldn't make a lot of sense that a doctor who willingly prescribes this pill would bring a lawsuit to complain about willingly prescribing the pill.
So that bears the question then, is there a plaintiff who does have standing? Where might we see either a challenge or could just an entirely new lawsuit pop up where somebody does have standing, so then we really do have to visit the real question at hand here, the medication itself?
Three answers to that. We don't know, and maybe not. There may not be anyone who has standing to bring a lawsuit in this particular set of circumstances. And part three of that is, according to the opinion, that's okay. And this came up at oral argument. Sometimes there may be cases where there's an issue that there simply isn't standing for. And your remedy, as it was said in the opinion, may be the political remedy, to go to your legislator, to go to Congress, for the regulating agency to self-regulate from within. Those may be your only solutions. There may be times in which there simply isn't standing to challenge a government action. And this may be one of those facts. Although the court stopped short of saying, absolutely, there will never be standing in a case like this. But they suggested that if there was no standing, that's okay constitutionally.
I mean, we could see another case then with a different group of doctors, no question, right?
Sure, and I think the most likely instance would be if there is a different administration and the FDA takes a reversed position on this issue. You may see a new group of plaintiffs who might actually be able to establish standing. But at least on these facts, these plaintiffs, these doctors, no standing, so you never really reach the substantive issues.
We mentioned, of course, the IVF bill that got blocked on the Senate floor yesterday. How, two big pieces of news, right? Just when it comes to reproductive rights, when it comes to families who are planning. How does that tie into that ongoing conversation?
Well, if it's blocked, it maintains the status quo. As is with this case yesterday, it maintains the status quo. We still have one more Supreme Court decision coming out from Idaho. That may affect the degree to which federal law preempts state law. But in a post-Dobbs world, the world of any right to an abortion, and there really isn't one anymore, is in flux. So the question is, with all of these cases and legislation, how does America go forward and redefine abortion and any right to abortion if there ever will be one again?
It's mid-June. It's that time for other Supreme Court decisions. What are we waiting for? What still could come out?
How much time do we have? I'm going to need at least an extra 7 minutes.
And a half.
Yeah,
no,
so
a minute.
we've got 2 gun cases, bump stock cases. We have 1 more abortion case. We have a number of other cases that we're looking at. I mean, they all could come out today in the next hour, or the Supreme Court could keep us waiting in a cliffhanger style. There's no way of knowing what is going to come out, but we just have to wait patiently.
And a big one, right, in the 30 seconds or so that we have is about presidential immunity.
Absolutely, yes. That may be, for many, the biggest one, and I think the thing to look for is this. I don't expect you'll see 2 things I don't think you'll see. Number one, absolute immunity for all presidents in all circumstances, one extreme. And I don't think you'll see the other extreme, which is never immunity ever, ever for any presidents. I think you're going to see something in the middle. You may see this case sent back to the district court for determination of what is private conduct and what is presidential conduct.
He can't even go out and get a cup of coffee this morning. He's got to be waiting.
I don't think
no coffee.
You got to be ready. You got to be ready at a moment's
notice. An IV, a coffee IV that the producers.
Danny Savalos, thank you.
Very stuck here for a while. We appreciate it.
We have much more to come here on Morning News Now. Later this hour, it's a 5-star hack that could save you thousands of dollars. How you can get a luxury hotel experience without paying full price.
Up first, though, after the break, new developments in the case of an American journalist detained in Russia. Stay with us. Morning News Now. We'll be right back. back with new developments involving detained American journalist Evan Gershkovich. Russian prosecutors have announced he will stand trial after spending more than a year in pretrial detention. The 32-year-old is accused of spying on behalf of the CIA to collect information about a Russian weapons manufacturer. A trial date has not yet been released.
So far, Russian officials have not presented any evidence to support the arrest or the allegations. President Biden and the Wall Street Journal have repeatedly called on President Putin to release Gershkovich, saying the charges are baseless. He faces up to 20 years in prison if convicted.
Well, here's a pretty wild one. Election season is in full swing in the UK. This year, there is a new kind of candidate. Meet AI Steve. This is an avatar running for office, powered, of course, by artificial intelligence. Its creator says Steve will make decisions based on chats it has with voters and what the people want. NBC News international correspondent Danielle Hamamdjian has the story.
How many times have you heard this one? A politician wanting to reinvent politics.
Hi, I'm AI Steve, standing to be MP for Brighton and Hove.
But what happens when the candidate is the actual invention? Meet Steve, that is, AI Steve, an avatar on the ballot, a UK first.
You're actively dangerous.
Dangerous? You think the public can't be trusted?
It may feel like something out of that dystopian Black Mirror episode where a comedian uses a computer-generated avatar to cause electoral chaos. But now it's happening in real life, sort of, with AI Steve running as an independent.
AI Steve, was Brexit a good idea?
Brexit is a complex issue with varied opinions.
He can dodge a question like a real politician, but AI Steve will do exactly what his constituents tell it to do in Parliament, according to its creator, Steve Endicott.
Policies for the people, by the people.
The human version of Steve says he's an eco-friendly capitalist with a conscience who is fed up with traditional politics. But he promises he'll follow AI Steve's guidance if elected.
Politics is all about human interaction, Steve.
We're using AI to involve more humans in political decisions. That's not AI taking over Parliament or taking over government. It's the opposite. It's AI empowering me as a politician to be directly connected on a daily basis with my constituents.
AI Steve, he says, is his co-pilot, who can have up to 10,000 conversations at once. Constituents will vote on every policy issue, and human volunteers will weed out extremism.
Well, it's the first MP ever does what it's told. I don't know if you have any politicians in America do what they're told, but we don't here.
The current local MP from the Green Party is stepping down, leaving room for a slew of candidates from many parties. Across the country, Conservatives are trailing ahead of the July 4th elections, with the UK's Labour Party expected to win big after 14 years in opposition. Experts are increasingly worried about AI undermining elections.
Make it look like anyone is saying anything at any point in time.
From deepfake videos to robo-voice calls.
A magician using artificial intelligence to make robocalls pretending to be the president.
Former Pakistani leader Imran Khan used AI to voice campaign speeches from prison. And in the U.S., a candidate running for mayor of Wyoming's capital says he'll govern by AI bot, calling himself merely a puppet. Real Steve believes his AI alter ego can bolster democracy if done properly.
He's always available, and he's handled 2,500 calls in the last 3 days. I couldn't do that. So we need to actually fix our broken politics and do something about it. So at least I'm trying.
AI Steve was designed by Neural Voice. It's an AI voice company, and we need to point out the real Steve is a minority shareholder in the company. Since the website went live on Monday, he says the top 3 issues have been Israel's war with Hamas, garbage collection, and cycling lanes.
All right, Danielle, thank you so much.
That's quite a story. All right, coming up, the head of the FAA grilled on Capitol Hill.
Concerned that, your oversight is not strong enough.
When we come back, his testimony before lawmakers as Boeing faces intense scrutiny over the safety of its planes.
Plus, 5-star access without the 5-star bill. We'll share the hotel hack that could save you hundreds, even thousands of dollars on a luxury experience this summer. You're watching Morning News Now.
Back with confirmation from Boeing that it's working on a new quality control problem involving one of its popular planes. It comes as the FAA chief faced some scathing questions on Capitol Hill yesterday on its oversight of Boeing. NBC News senior correspondent Tom Costello has the details.
Boeing's latest problem is with the 787 Dreamliner. The company confirms hundreds of fasteners on the plane's fuselage appear to have been over-tightened and installed incorrectly. Boeing says the affected planes have not yet been delivered to airlines, and it's taking the time necessary to ensure all airplanes meet its delivery standards prior to delivery.
Can Americans feel safe about their circumstances they fly across the country and around the globe?
Air travel continues to be the safest way of travel by a very, very large margin.
On Capitol Hill, FAA Chief Mike Whitaker said the FAA's tough new oversight of Boeing is permanent. Dozens of inspectors now on Boeing production lines after the MAX 9 door plug blowout in January revealed serious quality and safety lapses, even though Boeing was supposed to be under FAA audit.
I'm very concerned that, your oversight is not strong enough.
But Whitaker says FAA inspections are now far more robust, and Boeing aircraft production remains capped.
Are you comfortable with the steps Boeing is taking right now to change its safety culture?
They have submitted a comprehensive plan. It is comprehensive. It's ambitious.
Meanwhile, Boeing whistleblowers continue to report concerns.
Boeing's new overhaul plan includes new quality control and safety management systems as the company remains under FAA and FBI investigation. The CEO will be on the Capitol Hill hot seat next week. Back to you.
And Tom has been on top of the story for us.
Sure
Tom,
has.
thanks so much.
Well, if you are looking to beat the summer heat without breaking the bank, we might have an idea for you.
Yeah, that's because a growing number of people are turning to resort day passes so they can take advantage of luxury amenities without paying a premium for the hotel room.
Yeah, this is a pretty cool one. For more on this growing trend, we are joined by travel expert Davey Sutton. Davey, good morning. Good to see you. Tell us about day passes. How does this work? Do most resorts have them?
So there are many resorts that do offer affordable day passes, access to their amenities. And so the idea is that you can actually stay in the hotel next door that is more affordable and then purchase the day pass to spend time at the luxury hotel. And instead of calling around, you can use websites like Resort Pass, Day Pass, Daycation. They are marketplaces so that you, so to answer the question, which hotels offer that, you don't have to kind of knock on each door to find directly if they offer that.
Oh, that's smart. I've actually done this before, and it was amazing. We had a very big group, and it would be way too expensive to stay at that hotel, and we spent the whole day at a beautiful pool, and it was just perfect. So it's clear that the price point, makes it beneficial for me, the customer, but it must be good for the hotels too, right?
I mean, the hotels, sometimes it depends if it's their high season or not, but sometimes their amenities aren't being used. So, yes, they're going to get that extra income to people accessing their pool. One of the best travel hacks is to book a service at, let's say, a luxury resort spa that can function as a back door. I also call that like the cheat code, if you will, into their pool. Sometimes it might just be limited to the pool at the spa, or sometimes you get access to amenities for the entire property, and you can book that service without being a guest. So, for example, it doesn't even have to be expensive. You can book a 30-minute facial. Let's say it costs you $100 versus paying an entire night stay. I also say the same thing for like dining experiences. For example, Monaco is one of the richest countries in the world, and I always say you can feel the wealth in the air. So you may not be able to pull off staying overnight in a hotel in Monte Carlo, but it's pretty easily to go to one of the fine dining restaurants at those luxury hotels.
So you mentioned that app, which is really cool. It helps you plan, but can you just show up at a front desk and ask, hey, can I get a pass for the pool?
Well, you can call around. I wouldn't recommend just like going there because they can definitely reject you. But you can call to ask if they offer day passes. And you guys, it's not as sometimes on those apps though they offer discounts and to as low as $25 to access the properties. It really is about supply and demand. So if they're not busy, they do want to see guests because they've already hired the staff to take care of the pool guests, to take those orders for those meals and those drinks. So they do want to see you come on the property. And so you might get a good deal by using one of those marketplaces. You can call around, but I think it's more efficient to save your time to use one of the marketplaces.
It's so great. It's like two trends at the same time. People want to save money and people want to experience life, you know? So it's like...
Well, Anne, you're a good reviewer to know you've done it.
Yeah, saving and spending at the same time.
Thank you, Davey.
Yes. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you got it. All right. Now, you may remember a few weeks back, we had an incredible woman on the show who's giving lab-tested animals a new lease on life. Well, I went to visit her at a very special place to her organization, Beagle Freedom Project, and to the hundreds of animals living there, now in peace. Take a look.
Over the years, Shannon Keith has written a lot of letters.
Mostly, they don't respond.
Those letters addressed to animal testing facilities, like this one in Nowata, Oklahoma, asking to rescue dogs and cats that would have otherwise been euthanized.
What did you think when you got the phone call from this facility?
I nearly passed out.
This site was in particularly bad shape.
What did you think when you first came here?
Woo! I was overwhelmed. There are hundreds and hundreds of dogs living outside in these pens 24/7. When he was doing the testing, the dogs were inside in these dingy, dark, awful, stinky kennels.
But something was different about these 30 acres, and Shannon, who founded Beagle Freedom Project, had an idea for the owner.
We'll buy the property because we want it, and you give us custody of all your animals. And part of that deal was he relinquishes his USDA license so he can never test on animals again.
These rolling hills are now known as Freedom Fields, a sanctuary while the animals await forever homes.
We have so much to learn from these animals about love and about forgiveness because they love people so much.
What does it mean that this very same land that was where these animals were being tested on is now their sanctuary?
Yeah, it's hard. It's so bittersweet. You know, I just hope they know that they're safe now, and I think they know that, and how much we love them.
All the animals. What a great day. I mean, it's such a fun shoot. And to the pigs, the goats, they have everything. It's so much fun. Coming up, if you are dreaming of owning a beach house, you might want to reconsider. Up next, why experts say homes built along the coast are not holding up their value.
Plus, Father's Day is this Sunday, and we're celebrating dad in all forms this morning. When we return, we'll be joined by one dad whose unique story has captured the hearts of his hundreds of thousands of online followers. You're watching Morning News Now. We are back now with a warning for people who live along the coasts. Hurricane season is upon us, and the forecast is for above average activity. That could mean up to 13 hurricanes this season.
The weather and then rising sea levels. That means coastal real estate is being hit by worse flooding and erosion than expected, and that is impacting its value. CNBC real estate correspondent Diana Olick has been taking a look at this issue. She joins us now. Diana, good morning.
Good morning, Savannah and Christine. So who doesn't love an ocean view, right? That's why people want homes on the water and why those homes are so very pricey. But they're also the homes at the highest risk from climate change.
From Dana Point, California, to Long Island, New York, to Nantucket, Massachusetts, some of the nation's priciest coastal real estate is in an increasingly precarious position due to climate change.
They're buying them knowing they're going to lose them.
This Nantucket home was listed last summer for just over $2 million. But in the fall, a barely notable nor'easter wiped away an astounding 70 feet of the beach it sits on, thanks to sea level rise and unusually intense rainfall. The house sold this year for just $600,000. The buyer told the Boston Globe the price mitigates the risk, and it's not the only one.
There's been several. One sold in the mid-7s and one sold in the mid-8s, which I know that sounds like a lot of money, but those houses, if they weren't at erosion risk, would have sold for, I don't know, 10, 12 million.
Nantucket real estate agent Shelley Lockwood just launched a seminar for fellow agents to help them reprice homes at risk.
I saw houses selling and I thought, oh my God, that's not worth that. It's falling in the ocean.
On the eastern end of Long Island, in Montauk, back-to-back storms this winter had the community scrambling to bolster its beaches and protect its multi-million-dollar homes as the water came in faster than ever before.
Where we've seen flooding in the past and the water subsiding right away, it's not subsiding anymore. We have a friend that's has a $10 million home, and he's not even sure what to do with it, because if he sells it, it's never going to be the $10 million that he bought it for.
Looking at zip codes just on the east and Gulf coasts of the U.S., these 33 have a median home value of at least $1 million. And in just these areas, a combined 77,000 properties are at significant flood risk, according to models by First Street, a climate risk data and analytics firm. That is roughly $100 billion in potential losses.
I think we just put our head in the sand. Values weren't going down until the last 10 years, and it's still been kind of a quiet reduction.
Attorney Chris Farley is working with Nantucket homeowners to help reduce their property taxes, as both the beach and their values erode. Some homes have been reassessed, while their neighbors haven't.
This house behind me, for example, is $2.2 million, but the house 2 doors down is $500,000 for their land value, and the house on the other side of that is $250,000.
All 3 homes sit on the same cliff that is quickly losing ground.
In the last 6 months, this has eroded, I would say, 12, 15 feet of sand is gone.
And these protective tubes? So we're not supposed to be seeing this.
This should have been covered.
On one beach, it's erosion. On another, the rising ocean has pushed sand so far as to bury the homes.
This was not like this last fall. This has happened this quickly.
All this sand coming up here like a snow dune.
See that? That was their septic. These things are not usable anymore. So once utility wires and septic systems get exposed, the town has to condemn the property.
Homeowner John Conforti watched our interview from his front steps. He's owned his home for 42 years.
We all say one more year.
Without beach erosion, how much would John's home sell for?
Right now, if it wasn't at erosion risk, $2.5.
And now?
I don't know if you could sell it. Maybe 5, maybe 500, maybe. But you'd have to have some buyer willing to lose it.
As more and more homes lose value and see their property taxes reduced, the local economies could take a hit, meaning taxes for everyone could then go up. Nantucket residents are voting on which parts of the island need the most help and who will pay for it, while in Montauk, experts are reassessing coastal resilience plans made nearly a decade ago after Superstorm Sandy because they're already outdated due to climate change. Back to you guys.
Diana, can you even insure some of these homes? I'm sure you can't even get homeowners insurance.
Well, for a lot of them, that's becoming increasingly difficult, and we've seen that in Florida in the last couple of years and in California when it comes to fire insurance. So some homes do have insurance, but it's going to get harder and harder the more home values go down to get them insured.
Yeah.
Diana, amazing story.
Thank you, Diana.
Oh, all right. Well, we are celebrating dads of all kinds this morning in honor of Father's Day this Sunday, but not everyone's path to that special role looks the same.
Our next guest wanted to be a father, but wasn't sure that it would ever happen for him. And right after he and his husband decided to have kids through a surrogate, tragedy struck. He lost his beloved husband to a heart attack, and now he's using the power of social media and his unique story to make a difference and build community for other dads like him.
And we have Jose Rolón here on set with us to talk about his story. Good morning. Happy Father's Day. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
We just had this great conversation here on the show yesterday about mental health surrounding Father's Day and just, you know, like the emotions it can bring up no matter what stage of this you are in, if you have a difficult relationship, if you've lost someone. And for you, losing a husband, a partner, a fellow dad in this, and then having 3 ultimately babies at the time. I mean, what does a day like this mean for you? Like, how does it feel? What does this bring up?
Yeah, I think for, you know, on Father's Day, it could be a little bit, it's bittersweet every single year. So, you know, when you think about becoming a parent, you always imagine you have that visual of like when your kid's on stage for the first time and you're sharing that moment with their partner because you know your kid's looking out for you in the audience, you know, and it gets bittersweet. You're proud for that moment, but then the seat next to you is empty, right? And so every year, whenever they hit a milestone or, you know, my son is about to graduate and go into middle school. And so going to that, and although I'm newly partnered, you saw him there on some photos, there are those moments of having, you know, just feeling bittersweet. So some years are better than others.
You are on social media as NYC Gay Dad, and you're building this community. Tell me what it's like to share your story online and what kinds of response you get from people who maybe they see themselves in you or your experience resonates for them.
Look, the thing that I often say is that we're really not that different from all the other families. We might be a little bit more colorful, but we're really just trying to parent the same way that everybody else is. We're tired in the morning. We're just trying to get them to school. And so I really want to be able to showcase to all families that not only do we have that, but there's a larger support system for our community, especially now with everything happening in the world. You know, our community has been targeted. You know, we feel like we say it every, cycle that it's more vital now, but we really feel like that right now is the time to just stand up and be present and be authentic and really show up for not only our community, but for all.
I'm just so impressed that for so much of this, you were a single parent, and you're so close in age, and you even have twins. I mean, what is that process like, and how are your beautiful kids?
Well, they're great. You know, they're entering their preteens, so we're starting to get a little bit of that eye roll, which I'm not, I'm not looking forward to. But
Christine can shed some light.
There's
right? A lot of eye roll.
Yeah, you've got 3 and in their teens, right? I can't imagine. I think, in terms of like surrogacy and having those conversations with them, I think some of that has been, for us, it's always been important to be really honest with them from the beginning. We've seen through pop culture and movies and shows where you find that adults finds out that they're like, they were adopted. And there's sort of like that moment of feeling deceit, being deceived. And I knew that I needed to be really honest with my kids from the very beginning.
Well, happy Father's Day. We're so glad you came here to share your story.
Yeah, thank you.
Nice to see you.
Jose Rolón, thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
All right, we wanted to take a moment to celebrate the dads and father figures in our lives and in the lives of our wonderful Morning News Now team, as well as our colleagues who are dads themselves.
Yeah, we've got a lot of them here. That's right. See if you can spot our dads in this special montage. And happy Father's Day to all the dads watching at home. It is Friday, so it's time for some joy. And this week, Amy Poehler's character Joy returns to theaters in Inside Out 2.
We're going to talk about that eagerly awaited movie, as well as the new Bridgerton episodes, which just dropped yesterday, and everything else coming to theaters and streaming that you just can't miss.
Here to help us talk through it all, tell us what we got to watch this weekend, we have Baker Machado. He's TV personality and host of The Baker Show. Baker, great to see you. Nice to see you. Happy Friday. We love when you join us. Help us get the weekend started. Okay, let's start with Inside Out 2.
Guys, the first one I'm still crying from. It's still so good. And if you loved the first one, you're going to love this one as well. Newly minted teenager Riley, guys, making her way now for new emotions to enter into the picture. So joining the crew now, Anxiety, voiced by Maya Hawke, and Envy, voiced by Iowa Debris. They're joining the original emotions, like you mentioned, Joy, which is Amy Poehler, Sadness, and others. Reviews on this amazing. Over 90% right now on Rotten Tomatoes. Wow. And don't forget, the first one won the Oscar for Best Animated Feature Film. And this is really needed for the box office. This could actually be the best performing film of the entire year so far. It's tracking about a $90 million opening, which would best Dune Part 2, which was about $82.5 million. And Disney needs a hit, too, because the best animated film that Disney's had the last couple of years was Lightyear in 2022. And that only brought in $50 million, and a lot of people think that one was a bust. bust.
I don't even remember that one.
Box office, guys, has not had a single film top $100 million at the box office this entire year. So this is desperately needed for this and Despicable Me that are coming out here in the next couple of weeks.
Let's talk about something streaming on Max. The Targaryens are back, and this is the prequel to the Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon. Is this worth me, like hiding from my kids for 2 days?
Yes. So far, the initial reviews are it's a little slow. A lot of the critics are hoping it's going to build, but as you mentioned, Christine, people have waited 2 years for this show to finally be back on Max and HBO this weekend. So expect more dragons, more plot twists. As I mentioned, right now the reviews are a little bit mixed right now, but don't forget, Warner Brothers Discovery pays over $20 million an episode for this show. It's one of the highest, it's one of the most expensive shows to create right now.
Wow, I do think it was not as good as just all of Game of Thrones.
It's also so dark. Am I just getting old where these things are so dark and I have to turn on the subtitles and everything?
Okay, we have to talk about Bridgerton too.
Yes, that cliffhanger was like insane over the other day, a couple days ago.
Yes.
Netflix finally dropping the last 4 episodes of this last season of Bridgerton, so that way you can finally get an update on what happens with Colin and Penelope. No spoilers, by the way, guys, but most of the people who have watched the last few episodes are very happy with how it ends, but savor it, because the showrunner from Bridgerton told The Hollywood Reporter it'll be another 2 years before Bridgerton comes back for seation 4.
They got a lot. They got to work up all those
watched
characters.
the first half, and then the first episode, and I'm going to try to savor it.
Savor it. That's what I've been doing with Hacks. It's like you have to watch every episode. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to watch another one next time.
Hacks also. And it's so densely scripted, Hacks is. Oh, but let's talk about another one that's set across the pond. This one is called Blue Lights, a police show based in Northern Ireland, streaming on BritBox. I know that there was a red carpet premiere, season 2 red carpet premiere here in Manhattan. What stands out on this one for lovers of cop shows?
Okay, so a lot of people love cop shows. This one is a really highly successful one. Its second season just dropped, and as you mentioned, the premiere was here in New York City. This has an over 90% rating right now on Rotten Tomatoes, and this looks at a police force in Northern Ireland. As you mentioned, it's airing on BritBox, and it's on BBC One across the pond right now as well.
Okay, gonna have to search for those ones.
I want to get to the next one, which is Bratz. That's all I want to talk about.
We've got like 30 seconds left. Tell us the new documentary.
I am so excited for this. If you're an 80s kid like me, the Brat Pack was everything for you. Andrew McCarthy, who's a former member of the Brat Pack, he'll deny that he's a part of them. Interviews Emilio Estevez, Demi Moore, Rob Lowe, Ali Sheedy, but he does not interview Molly Ringwald. She is not a part of this. She declined to be a part of it. He even talks to the writer of that New York Magazine piece that famously called them the Brat Pack also. One big piece of info that they did drop in this, John Cryer admits he did date Demi Moore back in the day. That we did not know.
This makes me want to watch St. Elmo's Fire again.
This is on Hulu, by the way, if you want to watch that.
Love it. Baker Machado, it's so fun when you come. Thank you for being with us. Also, the Tonys are this weekend, so Joe better be back on Monday, because we'll have a full wrap-up Monday morning.
And that does it for this hour of Morning News Now.
But the news continues right now.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app, or follow us on social media.